Hey, welcome wonderful viewers. We'll be looking at the latest events surrounding the VAT dispute. The VAT issue that is going on has never been tested in Nigerian history. Since like forever, the FIRS has been collecting VAT on behalf of everybody. The collected amount is shared among the three tiers of government, with the states taking the lion's share of 50%, the local government 35%, and the federal government 15%. The first attempt at challenging the collection of VAT by the FIRS was done by Lagos State. In that case, Lagos State sued the federal government at the Supreme Court, but unfortunately they lost that case to technicality when the Supreme Court ruled that they should have sued the FIRS, not the federal government. Now, Rivers State has sued the correct agency of the federal government and won in the first instance. The matter is now on appeal. So who will win between the state and the FIRS? First of all, let's look at the law. VAT is not listed in the concurrent list. Neither is it listed in item 58 nor 59 of the second schedule of the 1999 Constitution. It is also not in the exclusive list. For those who don't understand what the different lists in the Constitution means, let's start with the exclusive list. This is the list that refers to the powers of the federal government. It is only the federal government that can wield the powers listed here, and no other entity or tier of government can do so. These powers include defense, international trade, diplomacy, etc. There's also the concurrent list. In simple terms, this list contains powers that can be shared between the federal government and the state governments. Although whenever there is a conflict, the federal government overrides the state government. Also contained in the concurrent list are the powers of the federal and state legislature. What areas the federal legislature and their state counterparts can legislate on. In this case, if a state house of assembly makes a law to govern a particular subject, and afterwards the federal legislature makes another law that will govern the same subject, that of the federal legislature will take precedence and is superior by law. Now to the residual list. This list contains the powers reserved to the states, like lands. The land within the state territory belongs to the state government, or rather they are the custodians. And when you want to get your certificate of occupancy, you go to the state government. All estate or landed property related issues are handled by the state government. Even when the federal government needs land for development, they go to the states to acquire land. Also, town planning, vehicle registration, birth certificate, and general civil matters are some of the contents of the residual list. Okay, getting back to the question of who will win between the FIRS and Rivers State in the appeal court, well, sometimes court rulings are made with political considerations and not based on who is right or wrong, especially when it is a constitutional matter, because this matter concerns revenue, so the outcome might not be what a lot of people are expecting. But everyone is waiting for the decision of the court, and the matter might not end at the appeal court. It might reach the Supreme Court, whichever side that loses. In reality, the states should be the ones collecting VAT. Part of the reason many state-owned companies failed was because they had incompetent managers and they weren't profitable. Nevertheless, they earned their salaries because they were civil servants under the payroll of the government. In the private sector, when you run your business aground, you declare bankruptcy and your business is gone. In some states in Nigeria, they do not make effort to generate revenue because they know that come what may, the monthly federal allocation will come by the end of the month. Also, some states have laws that are anti-business. Yes, the states that have Sharia law. All the time, the enforcers of this law destroy alcoholic beverages in accordance to their law. Even in some Middle Eastern countries where they practice a stricter version of Sharia, they still recognize that business should exist alongside religion. Some of them have designated places or hotels where you can drink or purchase alcoholic beverages. Instead of limiting the kind of businesses one can operate in your state, they should open up their states for more businesses to thrive, thereby earning them more money. Like they say, if you're a railway worker, the water corporation should not be paying your salary. Instead, it is the railway corporation that should pay your salary. You do not reap from where you did not sow. It is good to have resource control and true federalism, but the most important thing that Nigerians need is good governance. Good governance reduces strife in the society. It reduces poverty and crime. In fact, Nigerians are very good people. They will mind their business once things are going good in the society. They don't mind what is going on in politics or leadership. Once the economy is easy on their lives, they will just simply mind their business. Look at the 90s, when Abacha was in power. He was a dictator. He abused human rights, locked up many, even Obasanjo. But beer was selling for 25 naira under Abacha. Inflation was relatively stable. Exchange rate was rock solid at about 85 naira to the dollar for a few years. He had the likes of Paul Oguma and Anthony Ane, the CBN governor and finance minister respectively, managing the economy. Of course, the billions of dollars that Abacha stole from the central bank was coordinated by this. But life was relatively easy then, unlike under the politicians where a lot of money cannot be accounted for and life is hard for the people. Still on good governance, it beats resource control because the money that many states are earning right now that we do not have resource control or true federalism, they have nothing to show for it. There's a lot of mismanagement going on, white elephant projects, non-priority based infrastructure provisions, and so on. The 13% derivation fund that oil producing states have been earning for many years should have lifted these states out of poverty. Look at Delta State, a state that has earned trillions of naira over the years, but they have nothing to show for it. Asaba is one of the worst looking state capitals in Nigeria. What about Bayelsa? Bayelsa should have nothing to do with poverty, considering their small population. Where did they invest the trillions of naira they've earned over the years? The first and major problem we have right now is the reckless mismanagement of available resources. If one cannot judiciously manage and account for the little allocation they receive today, what will happen when the allocation becomes big? Some Niger Delta states earn more than some African countries, and some of their governors are more interested in paying salaries to hangers-on instead of developing the state that will ultimately make everyone rich. The state governors, including those opposed to the collection of VAT by the state governments, should reduce waste in governance and focus more on developing infrastructure for businesses to thrive. The federal government should also do the same and reduce waste in government. The states should give the same resource control that they are demanding from the federal government to the local government. Local government elections have not been held in Anambra State for a few years now. Most states have swallowed the local government both in revenue and its functions. You see many states having agencies that clean the streets and controlling sweepers. This is the primary responsibility of local government. As they say, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The governors want resource control, but they don't want to give the resource control to the local governments. Whenever their illegal joint accounts with local governments are questioned, some states give excuses like too much corruption in local councils, you know these civil servants, blah blah blah, but the federal government have never used any of these excuses to take over any state government's account. It is time for state governors to stop awarding single road contracts in cities. If it is a trunk road that connects many towns, no problems. But if it is a road within a city, no. It's a total waste of time, money and resources, because when you construct a road where the adjoining streets are not paved, mud from the unpaved streets will damage the paved roads in no time. The citizens do not get their money's worth when a road that is supposed to last 10 years breaks apart in 2 years. Instead, get a contractor to build all the roads in the city at once. At the end of every month, you pay the contractor the agreed amount till the work finishes. A bank can even finance it. Otherwise, if the governors keep constructing single roads in cities, they will never get out of the cycle of road construction. In fact, in a century, they will still be constructing single roads. Asian countries that had independence at the same time some African countries had have passed the stage of road construction. How did they do it? Our cities can never look clean except all roads are tarred with sidewalks. Again, back to the question, who will eventually be responsible for VAT collection? Well, whoever emerges the winner. The ultimate winner is the citizens of Nigeria. What the federal government should do in case the FIRS retains the right to collect VAT is to change the factors used in sharing the VAT proceeds. This is how it is currently shared among the states. It will be reasonable and in the spirit of justice to increase the derivation factor so that people that pay more VAT can reap more benefits. Wonderful people, this is where we call it a day. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and enable notification. That will motivate us to serve you more. Till next time, thanks for watching.